and welcome to Big Time Basketball, your online source for all things Big Ten hoops. I'm Chris Hagan.
And I'm Chris Widlick. A lot of jockeying for position near the top of the conference, and that includes the Fighting Illini and the Spartans. An exciting finish highlights Tuesday's marquee matchup between Illinois and Michigan State in Champaign. Here's Audrey Dahlgren with the story from the Spartan perspective.
After its loss to Michigan State's basketball team was adamant about getting its swagger back, as well as getting back to its brand of basketball. And what you saw in Champaign against Illinois is the definition of their brand. The Spartans were relentless on defense, their transition game was rolling, and they had the grit to hold on and win in dramatic fashion. So Tom Izzo was asked how much of a lift can that win give his team.
It gives you a lift. I mean, practice was really good today. I mean, everybody, I think there's a lot of reasons. You got a lot of things happening this weekend. They're excited about it too. You got big game, as Audrey said, where one of the best teams is coming here. So that's exciting. I didn't like winning it by one at the end, but I tell you, we even played well throughout. They made 16 free throws in a row. And then to go down at a place like that and come back, that tells a little bit about your character. So we're going to try to build on it, but we'd like to get a lead and learn how to make the lead bigger. And that's kind of what the goal will be.
It's a pretty good goal to have, because if the Spartans let Maryland, aka the top team in the conference, jump out to an early lead on Saturday at the Breslin with an ESPN national audience looking on, it could get ugly. Covering Michigan State for Big Time Basketball, I'm Audrey Dahlgren.
And there's the final score, 70-69. A gut punch for the homestanding orange and blue, who took a real hit to the Big Ten title hopes. WCIA's Brett Behrens has more.
You could almost feel Illini Nation take a huge sigh of relief after finding out Ayo Dosunmu's left knee had no structural damage. The fan base was on pins and needles after Tuesday night's game when the team's best player went down on the last play of the game. Dosunmu slipped and fell immediately to the court holding his knee. The buzzer sounded as the ball got away from the Illini sophomore, with Michigan State walking away with a 70-69 win. Dosunmu had to be carried off the court. He didn't put any weight on his left leg as the Illini dropped their third straight game.
In the moment, it was a little bit overwhelming because, that's one of our best players and we need him in. But now all I have in my mind is just praying for him, making sure that I keep asking God to heal him and make sure that he's good. That's all in my mind right now, just praying for Ayo.
It's really tough, Ayo is one of the best players in the country right now. And he's really important for us, He's just such a great player. I hope I pray for him, and he's going to be back soon.
There's no timetable for Ayo's return. Head coach Brad Underwood and the team will meet the media today to give an update on his status for Saturday's game at Rutgers. The Illini open a 2-game road swing in Piscataway, then head to Penn State on Tuesday. It hasn't been easy the last 10 days, and it only gets tougher as that 7-game winning streak in January seemed like a long time ago at this point. Covering Illinois for Big Time Basketball, I'm Brett Behrens.
Brett, thank you very much. Everybody, though, chasing Maryland, enjoying life at the top of the league for now. The Terps ranked in the top 10 nationally.
Yeah, how about that? 10-3 in conference, riding a 7-game winning streak. The Terp train is rolling, and Alif Kareem is on board for the ride.
A win is a win, and tonight might be the perfect example of that. Despite Jalen Smith's heroics late in the game, giving the Terps a 72-70 dub over Nebraska, it still left a more sour taste than you'd expect.
Yeah, I'll take the blame. I didn't have us ready. I was a little under the weather. I wasn't at practice Sunday. I haven't missed practice in 15 years. Felt like crap the whole game. I didn't do my job.
Like they said, the win didn't come easy. It came all the way down to the wire, in fact. A horrible turnover at the worst possible time to start, followed by a missed chance at the line by Eric Ayala that ended up being converted into 2 made free throws on the other end for Cam Mack. But just as it seemed Mack was going to win it for the Huskers, Smith at the rim with the stuff as well, and Maryland ended up taking this nail-biter to keep their perfect win streak at home.
I just saw him driving to the lane. I was in the corner, and once he went up, I tried to go up with him and time it right, and I got it, and I got the rebound, I think. Yeah, I did. I got the rebound, yeah. And then from there on.
Next up for the Terps, they're on the road again, this time against a desperate Michigan State team that will be hungry to take down the #1 team in the Big Ten Conference. Reporting at College Park, Alif Kareem for WDVM 25 Sports.
Hey, thanks, Alif. Now let's give some equal time to those Huskers with KCAU's Jake Jones.
Time to talk some Big Red basketball. Nebraska men's hoops. Well, they came one bucket shy of an upset over number 9 Maryland on Tuesday in what would have been a much needed win. It upped the Huskers' current losing streak to a whopping 9 games. Huskers dug themselves a hole in the first half, going down 13 points at the break, but with less than a minute left, managed to string together a 6-0 run to make it a 1-point game. But in the final seconds, it was true freshman Cam Mack who sliced through the D for the potential game winner. Coming up just shy. He forces the game-stealing free throws with a foul afterwards. Maryland goes on to get the win. But despite the late miss, head coach Fred Hoiberg said pretty proud of his young point guard's performance.
Cam's a tough kid. He's a resilient kid. I thought he made a lot of good plays, even though his shot wasn't falling tonight. He went out there and had 8 assists. I thought he made really good plays. I thought he really guarded on the other end. He had a very tough assignment, obviously, with Cowan in everything that he's done. He's one of the top point guards in the country. And, I thought Cam really battled on that end. So even though his shot didn't go in, I thought he had a big impact on us climbing back into that and having a chance to win.
Huskers hoping their losing streak doesn't hit double digits on Saturday when they play host to Wisconsin with a tip-off at 1:15 Central Time. That's your look at Big Red Hoops. Covering Nebraska, I'm Jake Jones.
All right, thanks, Jake. And on the other end of the spectrum, Chris, perhaps the best team in the conference right now, that's Penn State.
Who would have thunk that, right? The football powerhouse getting things done on the hardwood this winter. PSU currently on a 7-game win streak and now in the thick of that title race. Lions in action Tuesday night in West Lafayette against Purdue, and Peter Terpstra has the state story.
Penn State basketball could win the Big Ten. Stop, think about that for a second, let it digest. This is the world we live in. Let's break it down for you. The team most recently took out Purdue by 12 points on the road. It was the 4th road win in a row for Penn State, 7th win in a row overall. Both of those are program records.
I think we're playing well on the road because we had shared experiences over the last 4 years for Lamar Stevens and Mike Watkins, and Curtis Jones brings a wealth of knowledge. Our juniors, those shared experiences. You guys remember in January we were 0-10 last year. So I think there's a lot to learn from failure and setbacks, and I think these guys have really learned what they need to do on a nightly basis.
Number 13, Penn State has 7 games left of the regular season. The team is coming off of its first sellout in nearly 9 years. Looking ahead, the schedule could set up for a fun finish in the conference standings. So Northwestern is next at home. That's a team with only 1 conference win. So on paper, you have to feel good about that one if you're a Penn State fan, but it is Big Ten ball. Covering Penn State, I'm Peter Terpstra.
Thank you, Peter. Got to be happy for head coach Pat Chambers. He's been through it, and now he's finally seeing the payoff. 88-76 Penn State. With the Purdue take, here's WXIN's Dave Griffiths.
Take a snapshot of this week, and you've got a good picture of Purdue's entire season, from tremendous highs to gut punch lows. First, the good. The Boilers won on the road Saturday at Indiana. You could say sticking it to the rival Hoosiers on their special day, welcoming Bob Knight back to Assembly Hall. But the joy from a Big Ten road win did not last. On Tuesday, the Golden Black hosted 13th-ranked Penn State. Though unranked themselves, Purdue was favored by a good 5 or 6 points, playing well on a 3-game win streak. But the Nittany Lions snapped it convincingly. The visitors charged out to a first-half lead and kept pace in the second half, riding 14 three-pointers to an 88-76 win.
I just wanted them to have some fight. You get down 20 points, make it difficult on your opponent. You should be doing it anyways. But you got to pick up the pace. You got to be able to do some things and try to make it harder on them. I just didn't like that piece of it. But I also think that's what a good team, when a good team plays well like that, that's, they force you into that. I felt like at that moment that, Penn State kind of stole our spirit. And, you got to keep your fight about you, and we didn't.
For an idea of just how up and down Purdue's season has been, I'll get a little technical, so bear with me here. ESPN Analytics claims the Boilers have the largest game-to-game variance in adjusted efficiency in the nation, and it's not even close. They will hope for more of the good side of that seesaw this week on the road at Ohio State Saturday and at Wisconsin Tuesday. Covering Purdue, I'm Dave Griffiths.
So Dave's one of those analytics guys, I guess, in the end, huh? And then there's still Rutgers in the mix for the league title and looking at a great seed for the Big Ten tourney in Indianapolis.
Yeah, how about that? The Scarlet Knights currently in the 6th spot in the conference and tangling with a disappointing Ohio State squad. WCMH's Jared Smalley has that story.
Well, it starts with a climb back to the middle for Ohio State, and they are on their way in the middle of the Big Ten. This actually is a notable accomplishment this year. With the Buckeyes' win over Rutgers Wednesday night, they moved to 6-7 in Big Ten play, out of the group, which will have to play the first day of the Big Ten tournament. Baby steps. However, it got rough Wednesday night, the Buckeyes building a 20-point lead on Rutgers in the second half before the night started a furious comeback. They pulled within 3 under 30 seconds to play. OSU held them off, a 72-66 win there. They'll make no apologies for the style necessary.
Too hard to win in this league. Yeah, if you think I'm going to come in here with a, sour, oh man, Nick Saban might, but I'm not going to.
I feel like our older guys, including me and Jay, kind of calmed our group down. Like I said, don't flinch and just stay on the next possession, win the next possession.
Saturday, Ohio State hosts Purdue, a team which has haunted the Buckeyes in recent years, but the Bucks enter with some confidence. They've won 4 of their past 5 games overall. In Columbus for Big Time Basketball, I'm Jared Smalling.
Hey, thanks, Jared. The Buckeyes get the W, but now let's hear from Rutgers head coach Steve Pikiell.
It's a really, really difficult league. I mean, they're great coaches, and you certainly have one here at Ohio State. There's really good players. I mean, come down to the little things too. A couple days of prep, more prep days, very important for my team. Didn't have a lot to get ready for this game, so I think that factors into it too. But you got to play good basketball, and this league, every game is a war.
Former Wolverine star Juwan Howard's first year at the helm at Michigan has been a challenge. A hot start followed by a cool down as winter progressed up in Ann Arbor.
Can't figure out that team yet. Currently, Michigan 6-7 in the conference, 15-9 overall, hoping to salvage some pride against Northwestern. Wood TV's Larry Figursky has the UM take.
No coincidence that the return of junior Isaiah Livers, who had missed 9 of the last 10 games due to injury, resulted in a pair of big wins for the Michigan Wolverines this past week. U of M looking much more like a tournament team again at both ends of the floor. Livers with 14 points, one of 4 Wolverines in double figures in Michigan's 77-68 win over then 16th-ranked Michigan State, and then added 17 more in U of M's 25-point road win at Northwestern on Wednesday.
Zay came up big, made some clutch shots. Defensively, he was very active on the defensive end with his length, protecting the basket. Zay is a talent. It's that simple. We missed him a lot, and we missed having another guy like Zay who can not only make shots, but also a guy that has a high basketball IQ that knows how to make plays.
And on Wednesday, seniors Xavier Simpson and John Teske were each credited with their 104th career wins as members of the Michigan basketball program, tying the great Glenn Rice, amongst others, for the all-time school record, one they certainly will break in the days or at least weeks ahead.
That have competed on the road, have been through duress situations where they have fought through adversity. Adversity is not new to them. So fortunate for us, 2 of our best players are seniors.
Michigan returns home to host Indiana Saturday afternoon in the only regular season meeting between the 2 teams this season. With the Wolverines, I'm Larry Figursky for Big Time Basketball.
Appreciate that, Larry. There is your final. Michigan rolling over those Northwestern Wildcats who continue their struggles. Here's Jared Payton with Northwestern's take.
Coach Collins and the Northwestern Wildcats were looking for a big win as they hosted Michigan at Welsh Ryan Arena Wednesday night. Cats were hoping to stop their 7-game losing streak. They got off to a good start, actually held Michigan scoreless for the first 5 minutes of the Wolverines, though. They turned it on. They outscored the Wildcats 32-10 in the final 12 minutes and 26 seconds of the half. Northwestern would not recover as they fall 79-54. It was another rough shooting night for the Cats, who made just 5 3-pointers on the night and shot just 32% from the field for the game. Northwestern is now 6-17 on the season, 1-12 in Big Ten play. They'll be back on the court Saturday as they travel to State College to take on 13th-ranked Penn State, the Nittany Lions. They head into the contest on a 7-game winning streak. Coach Collins and his squad will have their hands full trying to secure a win on Saturday night. Covering the Wildcats, I'm Jared Payton.
Jared, thank you. Iowa and Indiana connecting in Bloomington with the Hawkeyes, and Luka Garza battled an Indiana team looking to snap a 4-game skid and get on that NCAA tournament solid ground. It's been rough.
A big game for the Hoosiers, no doubt, but let's start our coverage with the Hawkeyes' perspective and Adam Rosso.
Another 1-1 week for Iowa has pushed them out of the double bye in the Big Ten tournament seeding. The Hawks lost at Indiana on Thursday, dropping the black and gold into a tie for 5th with Rutgers. Iowa began the week by thumping Nebraska in Iowa City on Saturday. Joe Wieskamp stole the show in that one, a career-high 30 points for the sophomore, who's been a little under the radar this season because of Luka Garza. But Wieskamp has been absolutely bringing it. He ranks inside the top 10 in both scoring and rebounding in league play.
You know, he's not a mistake guy. You know, he's not a volume shooter. He scores on drives. He scores on putbacks. He scores on threes in transition. He scores off of screens. Scores on out-of-bounds plays. And that has tremendous impact on a team's ability to compete. You know, he's a guy that he'll just keep coming, and I think that's what makes him special.
Wieskamp and the Hawks hit the court again on Sunday at Minnesota. Ohio State then comes to Carver Hawkeye Arena for the only meeting of the regular season between the two teams. Both the Gophers and Buckeyes sit below Iowa in the Big Ten standings. Reporting for Big Time Basketball, I'm Adam Rosso.
And there's the final from Bloomington. The Hoosiers snapped their 4-game skid with a season-high 11 three-pointers, 89-77.
No, we were mentally right. And when we're mentally right and we play as a unit and we're doing the things that we're supposed to do, I think that we have a chance to be a good team. We've shown that, whether you beat Iowa or Michigan State or Florida State or Ohio State, wherever it is. But we also can be that team at times that, you know, lacks the carefulness of you can lose it. So we have to be mindful right now.
Talking future now, Christian Lander is a big-time prospect out of Wrights High School in Evansville, Indiana.
Yeah, and as our Michael Gilbert reports, Lander considering several Big Ten programs for his college hoops destination.
Christian Lander turns heads with his explosive play. The Wrights guard is considered one of the best high school prospects for the class of 2021.
I've always been wanting to be in the top of my class or top period, but I never thought it was going to come that soon. So I just continue to keep working so I can be at the higher spot than I am now.
Colleges have taken notice. Universities like Kansas, Michigan, Louisville, and Indiana have reached out to the junior. And those are just some of the big-name programs.
Honestly, I didn't think I was going to get those type of looks this early in my basketball career, so I was extremely shocked. I was just like, okay, now everything's getting rolling sooner than I thought. The pressure got to me a little bit at first when I first started getting to schools, but now I feel like there's regular people too, so I feel like it's just play my game.
Lander says his game has improved this year, and he has noticed the differences.
My IQ's gotten a whole lot better. That's just from coaches around me and people around me showing me what to do and stuff like that, so it's came a long way.
Now the 17-year-old is aiming for bigger goals.
Christian Lander. I just feel like as long as I keep doing what I'm doing right now, I feel like everything will just come to place. So I can make it out as far as anybody has ever come out of Evansville, so it's my goal.
And as of now, no timeline or regional preference on where he plays next.
I honestly don't have no clue, to be honest with you. I'm just trying to let everything pass through, get this season over with, and see how this season goes.
For Big Time Basketball, I'm Michael Gilbert.
All right, thanks a lot, Michael. As usual, it will be a busy weekend of Big Ten hoops. Here's a look at what we got on tap for Saturday. Northwestern at Penn State, that's at high noon, as well as Purdue at Ohio State. At 2:15, it'll be Wisconsin at Nebraska. And for more on the Badgers, here's our Burt Griffin.
Following a couple of tumultuous weeks, the Wisconsin basketball program is back at an even keel, at least for now. And following a convincing 70-57 win over Ohio State, Greg Gard's team has enjoyed the entire week back in Madison. Now, last Sunday at the Kohl Center, the program welcomed back the 2000 Final Four team led by Dick Bennett, and the current roster did not disappoint. Aleem Ford, he had a solid game and was 1 rebound short of a double-double with 10 points and 9 rebounds while building an 18-point lead at the break. Brevin Pritzel, also big off the bench with a season-high 19. And once again, when this team does the little things right, positive results happen.
Defensively in that first half, that's some of the best we played in that end of the floor this year. And I think obviously we were able to turn some defense into offense. They told me it was a 26-5 run at one point. And then when you can do that and get some confidence and energy going, it was good.
At the end of the day, Coach Gard preaches us to get the best shots we can in possession, and to hunt your shot. So everybody's kind of looking for what they should do best. It kind of just works out.
And the Badgers will now face Nebraska on the road Saturday with a home game against Purdue next Tuesday night. Reporting for Big Time Basketball, I'm Burke Griffin.
And thank you very much, Burke. Here's the rest of Saturday's Big Ten slate. Two very impressive games. 22nd ranked Illinois visits Rutgers at tip time 4:30, and number 9 Maryland at Michigan State. A dandy. That one rolls off at 6 o'clock.
And if there's not enough for you, how about Sunday? A couple more games on the docket. Iowa at Minnesota and Indiana at Michigan. Both those games tipping off at 1 o'clock Eastern. Last weekend, a homecoming at IU had the conference and nation's attention. The long-awaited return of a certain head coach.
Longtime IU bench boss Bob Knight, who ruled the roost at Assembly Hall, returning to the gym that made him famous after nearly 2 decades of exile. WTTV's Wes Woodward was there for the emotional reunion.
Ever since he returned to Bloomington to make his home, fans have been wondering when Bob Knight would return to Assembly Hall. After nearly a 20-year absence, Saturday was the day.
I think it's one of the great days in college sports history, and maybe sports history, to be able to get Coach Knight to come back home. Randy was very instrumental in that, actually led the charge. All of us tried to pitch in and do it, and to get him here to see what it's like and see the reaction from the people who love and appreciate not only Indiana basketball, but Coach Bob Knight.
This is where he belongs. He belongs here in Indiana, and for the fans to see him one last time, hopefully he'll come back and be a fixture here for on, because this is where he belongs.
Bob Knight's exile from Assembly Hall was now history, an emotional time to heal and to move on.
We were just happy as hell knowing that he was going to come today. I mean, we didn't put a lot of work into it. This is something that he decided he wanted to do.
A longtime rival was in the building as well.
It meant more to the alumni than it did us because they had bragging rights all year, but to the coaches it meant we got to win this game to get to the next game and keep moving up the Big Ten ladder. So it was always a special time because of the enthusiasm here, but by the same token it meant one game we had to win it.
Plus praise from Purdue's current coach for a special era.
If you wanted to win the Big Ten or you wanted to have success in the Big Ten, you had to run through Indiana and Coach Knight. And so we learned a lot, obviously, as fans and I learned a lot as a player and a coach, from Coach Katie, being around him, and Coach Knight, being at clinics and things like that. So, we're lucky. I think we're lucky in the state of Indiana to have those two guys and what they brought to their institutions and what they brought to the Big Ten Conference.
In Bloomington, Wes Woodward, Big Time Basketball.
Wes, thank you very much. Some great stuff there. Here are the updated Big Ten standings. Maryland and Penn State, the top two, everybody's chasing. And with the depth of the conference as vast and impressive as has ever been, pretty good chance 10 or 11 schools will earn bids to the 68-team NCAA tournament field. And with that, we put a wrap on another edition of Big Time Basketball.
Yeah, we thank you as always for logging on. He's Chris Whitlick. I'm Chris Hagan. We'll see you next Friday at 12 noon.